Hello and welcome to this Edexcel GCSE Geography Walking Talking Mock on weather and climates. The aim of these is to improve your confidence in reading and interpreting the exam questions to give you the best chance of success in your exams. As always, please read carefully through these notes so you know how best to use this video. You can pause this video and then play it when you're ready to go. Extreme climate and weather conditions can create major hazards for people. Study figure 8 in the resource booklet. Figure 8 then, here we can see, shows us the global atmospheric circulation. We've got the different cells which have been named, and we can see we've got key features of it such as descending air, rising air, and the equator tropics on there as well as the Arctic and Antarctic Circle. So there we've got the information. The question is, identify the location on the globe which has low pressure. Here are the different answers that we've got here. So we look at it. Low pressure, it means we've got rising air. So we look at the North Pole. What can we see? No, the air is descending there. If we look at 30 degrees north, so again, we're looking at 30 degrees north. No, we've got descending air again. And so you'd need to look at those different areas to see. So again, mark your answer now. Again, another short, simple multiple choice. Which of the following sources of geographical information would you select to investigate weather conditions at location X? So at location X, we can see here, is on the equator. Now what you'd have to think about is, which of these would investigate the weather? Well, if it's average temperature, would that tell us the weather or the climate? Infrared satellite images. So what could you see from up above? The average rainfall. Again, would that be weather or would that be climate? And what is the Saffir-Simpson data? That relates to tropical cyclones. So again, have a go at marking your answers now. The next question, location Y experiences dry conditions. Let's have a look at location Y. Here we can see it, and it sits in the Hadley cell. But if we look at the movement of the air around here, we can see that the air is coming from the tropics, which is descending air, which is dry. But as it's moving towards the equator, it's obviously, this land is going to be hotter, so it's going to be becoming much hotter as it flows over there. So it says, explain one reason why atmospheric circulation contributes to the climate conditions at Y. It's 3 marks, so we need to extend it. With explain, we need those connectives, such as this means that, this leads to, so, therefore, etc. One reason, so you've got to extend one reason. Why the atmospheric circulation contributes to the climate conditions. So you've got to be able to explain or describe the climate conditions and explain why atmospheric circulation has affected it there. So again, if we look at it, we know that the air is coming up from the tropics. This is dry air, so that's going to lead to dry conditions. Okay, and also it's likely to be because it's descending air, it might be clear, so it might be sunny conditions as well. So have a go at answering that question now. So let's go through the answers of those last few questions. So 6A, D, the equator is where we see low pressure, rising air leading to that. For the imagery, it was satellite imagery at B, and that would help to tell you the cloud cover and tell you what the weather conditions were like. Then when we look at the atmospheric circulation, you can see that we've got to extend the answer. So the air mass originates from high pressure, which brings dry, hot conditions, so there is a lack of rainfall. Again, very simple, but linking and extending your answer. Look at the connectives that are being used. Which, so, leads to, because. And that's important to get into your answer. So for the next question, explain one human cause of drought. Again, we've got the command word explain, so we need to give a reason for it. And it's important that we look at one human cause. How can humans cause a drought? It's worth 2 marks, so you're looking at around 2 minutes. You're looking at stating describing and then saying how that actually causes the drought. Okay, so have a go now. So if we look at the answers to that question, again, 1 mark for a point about the human cause and 1 mark for the explanation. Again, look at the command words, the connectives which are being used here. So, intensification of farming may involve unsustainable use of irrigated water in crop production, or construction of large reservoirs may cause drought downstream by reducing the flow of water. So again, really simple answers, but just making sure that you are using those connectives to show an explanation. So you've got the human action and how that leads to drought. Now we look at suggest 1 impact of drought for people living in a developed country. Now, the command word suggest relates to something that you may not have studied directly, but you have to apply your knowledge and understanding to come up with a suitable answer. It's only giving 1 impact, but it's worth 3 marks, so we know we need to explain and extend our answer. And it's the impact of drought for people living in a developed country. You don't want to be talking about developing or emerging countries. And again, you need to use the connectives to extend your answer. So, what is the feature of drought and how does that impact people and what does that mean? Have a go. So, looking at the answers for this one, we can see again, look at the extension of it. Look at the connectives that are used here. So we've got, for example, the water supply for recreational purposes is restricted, such as not enough water for golf courses or swimming pools, which could result in a loss of business. So again, look at how this is marked, marks for the actual impact on it, and then why that is and what it could lead to and how it impacts on people. So now study figure 9a, what can we see? Well, 9a, we can see here is simple diagram and what is shown at X. So it should be very simple. Have a go at that now. So we now need to look at studying figures 9b and 9c. Now what we can see is 9b is a map showing us the distribution of cyclone tracks. We can see with these red lines here. The red lines would suggest the strongest cyclones. We can see there's nothing happening here, so we would assume that would be the equator. And we'd look at how these track and how they hit the continents. But you notice that they're all in the ocean, and when they hit land, they don't seem to travel far inland. As we look to the next resource, and we can see we've got global sea surface temperatures. It shows us that the warmest temperatures tend to correlate to where we see the most tropical cyclones. So the question, explain 2 reasons for the link between sea surface temperatures and cyclone distribution. So it says explain, we need to give reasons for them. Here we need to give 2 reasons for them, and we need to link the cyclone distribution, where they are, and how they link to sea surface temperature. It's worth 4 marks. And you'll notice it says 1 and 2. So you'd write each reason, 1 reason here, 1 reason here. And we may need to make sure that we are using those connectives to show our explanations. So have a look at the resources again. We can see here we've got the sea surface temperatures. Where are they? They're around the equator, moving up to the tropics. And as we look at the cyclone distribution of them, notice we see them over the oceans, not on land. And what are the reasons behind that? And that's what you need to be doing. So have a go at that now. Having a look at the answers, we can see that for the picture of the cyclone, we were looking for the eye or the eye wall. We had to give the correct terminology, not things such as middle or a hole. When we come to the link between cyclones and sea surface temperatures, here we can see there's a number of different things, but notice how you would be able to link it to the resource, because it does ask you to look at the resources. So you're trying to find the reasons for it. So figure 9c shows this, and which corresponds to this. Or you're starting to give reasons for it as well. So have a look at your answer, see how it compares. Could you see where you'd get your mark? Do you get your mark for saying what the pattern of sea surface temperature is and how it links to the location of the tropical cyclones? So have a go at that now.